Coming to you from the studios of Comcast Sportsnet, this is Sports Rise. I'm George Johnson. Coming up, we are about to turn up the heat. Now, I'm not only referring to the NBA playoffs, where the Pacers were looking to extinguish the heat, but also college lacrosse, where the rivalry is heated between the Hoyas and the Orange. But first, Hotlanta, getting a taste of some real heat, courtesy of Arizona's hurler, Randy Johnson.
As for Holyfield-Rahman, if you talk to him, he will tell you, this is the first of 3 fights. I plan on fighting in Baltimore, then I'm going to go to Delaware, come back here, fight a 3rd fight here back in Baltimore. Some say it may be at Towson. And then I'm going to be looking for a heavyweight title. Now, a lot of folks are going to say, what are you doing fighting ballroom boxing, Holyfield-Rahman? It was just 2 years ago. You were in Las Vegas.
Jim Fossil, Dennis Green, Ray Rhodes, all 3 names have been mentioned as head coaching candidates for the Washington Redskins. But, there could be a 4th name added to that list. How does the name Joe Gibbs grab you? According to numerous published reports, Gibbs has told his NASCAR associates that he could return to football to be the next Redskins head coach.
Dan didn't know who I was. He said he did. He said, Bobby Micheal, all these things. But he didn't know who I was. He didn't know my number. He didn't know anything about me.
This is supposed to be a Redskin fan. Dan Snyder's supposed to be a man that bought a team that he loved since he was a little boy.
Yeah.
You don't see that.
He's a man who say he's loved the Redskins, been a fan for all his life. But maybe he was a fan of Sonny. Maybe he was a fan of Darryl. But he didn't know Bobby Micheal.
You get a late touchdown run by Jamal Lewis, who becomes the first back all season long to rush for over 100 yards against the Denver Broncos. And when you start to add all that up, you come away with a victory for the Ravens. Welcome, everybody, to our Comcast Sportsnet studios. I'm George Johnson, joined again, first of all, closest to me, the former wide receiver, Kadri Ismail, who will tell you right now he is ready to run patterns for anybody. Just get him the ball. He can still run. Meanwhile, on the outside, we have Darren Jordan, who tells me he could still run down and cover folks on punt returns and kick. You didn't say that? Okay, maybe I mixed that up then. You know, we heard you doing a whole lot of talking upstairs. I thought one of the things was I can still play ball. But maybe I'm wrong about that.
That's Sandlot. That's in the Sandlot.
And obviously, Rick Dempsey still feeling the emotions of this whole situation, as is the whole Baltimore Oriole club and, of course, the New York Yankees. It's going to be interesting to see how many folks come out to today's ball game. Earlier today, down at the ceremonies, down at Ground Zero, it was reported that a lot of the family and friends of the victims of the events of a year ago did not come. They chose to stay at home, chose to be with themselves, to be with each other, to reflect on the year that has gone by. It's going to be interesting to see how many folks come here for the diversion of baseball. Brooke Fordyce said the healing process has begun, and hopefully baseball is a part of that. For more on what goes on tonight here at Yankee Stadium, let's send it up to the guys who will call tonight's action: Michael Regai, Mike Flanagan, and Jim Palmer. Fellas?
George, we appreciate that.
Last year, when Matt Kenseth won the championship on the NASCAR's top circuit, my baby Brittany could have best summed it up with her patented boring. You see, Kenseth won the points race, but he won just one race all season long. Our Selvo Auto Parts NASCAR highlights has Kenseth making a bid for a 2nd straight title. And believe me, it does not look boring. Out to Las Vegas we go. Chrysler 400, where the Dale Earnhardt Terrace was unveiled in memory of the 7-time Cup Series winner. Lap 87, Ryan Newman runs into trouble. He's just spinning around. Doesn't hit the wall, but that brings out the 2nd caution of the day. 37 laps to go. Matt Kenseth starting to make his move and says, "See ya, Kevin." That's Kevin Harvick making his move, and he's gone. 5 laps to go. Harvick says, "Okay, I'm not going to catch you. I just ran out of gas." Matt Kenseth picks up his 2nd win in a row, 9th career victory. And he wins at the same track that he won his only race all season long last year. That's in Las Vegas. All right, folks, final round of the rain-delayed Houston Open. It was perfect weather, though, on Monday. Vijay Singh on the 15th. Watch the approach shot. See, everybody's watching the approach shot except my man, right off the green. Plunk, off his belly. He was okay, though. Vijay's chances for trying to win his 2nd Houston Open in 3 years. with the help of a fan, and on 15 gets the birdie shot to fall, so obviously that guy didn't kill him that much. Then on 18, that's the tap-in, the save par as he captures Vijay Singh I'm talking about. His second tour event of the season, a 2-stroke win over Scott Hoke.
Looked like a big swelling on Rahman's head.
There is a huge knot on Rahman's head above his left eye.
Nobody's blind in this room, you know. I mean, I got a cut in the middle of my forehead, you know, and then I got this extra head on my head, you know. I mean, and it really didn't come from punches.
He's feeling it. You see him rubbing it with the glove, and Holyfield hits it with the right hand.
I tried not to pay no attention to it, just kept trying to hit it, you know.
That's about as nasty a bump as I've ever seen.
He did tell me to keep my head up, but, you know, the position of fighting is you got to keep your head down. You know why? Because you get your head knocked off.
Rahman isn't the first fighter to complain about Holyfield's head. Some have handled it better than others, but most have had to deal with it.
You can't defend against it. You know, his headbutts, his elbows. Holyfield's a very experienced veteran at Warriors technique. You know, going inside, know how to bust you up on the inside. And it looked like to me that Rahman didn't know how to deal with that after a while.
It started moving onto the side of his head. And, I mean, you can't put the fighter in that kind of danger in a grueling fight like that. Evander's going to keep fighting, keep hitting him in that same spot, and it would have been bad for Rock.
Once Evander saw, you know, my head start swelling up, he really tried to take advantage of it, and I really couldn't see his punches coming at me.
It's easier to accept a knockout. It's easier to accept a bad performance. When something like this happens, I mean, sure you're disappointed.
Many felt the end was anticlimactic. Holyfield seemed to be in control throughout most of the fight, proving the 39-year-old still had enough in the tank for a man 10 years his younger.
Whenever he jabbed and moved around and gave the guy the angles like he should have, the fight was in his favor. But whenever he slowed down to try to take advantage of his power, like we spoke about his power before, then this is where the other skillful guy takes over.
He swings so hard even when he missed a shot, it was easy for me to counter. So I just used the knowledge that I know the game of boxing to make him fight the type of fight that would benefit me.
Don't tell me that God can't revive a 39-year-old man. So he did it with Abraham, and Abraham was 100. And Sarai was 94.
Rahman came into this fight ranked number 3 in the WBC, number 4 in the IBF. Holyfield number 4 and number 5. The winner is supposed to move up to number 1 and number 2. So that distinction goes to Holyfield. But as far as Rahman's concerned, there's still some unsettled business.
I think the fight is not over. I don't think the fight was finished. Well, then we can fight. That's no problem, Rob. There it is. I'll probably come in with a helmet on.
From Atlantic City, I'm George Johnson, Comcast Sportsnet. For the last 20 years, the whole city has participated in the Circle City Classic, and today we come from Indianapolis, bringing you Jackson State taking on Florida A&M, and another black college football presentation here on BET. Hello, everybody. I'm George Johnson. Usually we bring you a battle between two in-conference teams or two teams battling for in-state rights, but this week it's the battle for momentum. Both teams come in with 2 consecutive wins. They need a victory today because the meat of the schedule is right around the corner. My broadcast partner is Kadri Ismail. When you talk about Jackson State, a couple of weeks ago we saw this team. They were dropping to 0-3, losing to Tennessee State. They've turned things around. They've won their last 2. They're now a first-place team, and a lot of that has to do with the play of their quarterback, Robert Kent.
And let's send you over to George Johnson, who's joined by MJ.
Both of y'all. All right, Mike, we both are. You're going to come down to our level this time. A big-time game for you tonight. It seemed like everything was falling for you, especially in the third.
We needed this game. This is one of those games where you got to come out here and lay it on the floor. I mean, we hadn't really been playing well. Coach has been really disappointed in the way we played. And I had to take the leadership, diving for a loose ball. I had to do everything I had to do to get this team to understand what winning is all about. We need this. We need to get into the playoffs, and I desperately want to make it that way. And Jerry wasn't here tonight. He didn't have a great game. He hit some big free throws, hit a big shot for us. And Larry Hughes is not playing right now, so we got to really, really grind out and come together and find ways to win ball games, especially like tonight.
I was going to say, it's one thing to beat a team that's a little lower down, but to knock off New Jersey, that's a little bigger, isn't it?
It is. That's one of those birdies out there bogey. We needed a game after after we gave away a couple games early in the season, this is one of the get-back games.
Mike, can you score 40 every night? You're going to have to get Jerry involved. You're going to have to get these other guys involved, I would assume.
Man, I only got 28 games left in my career. I'll do whatever I got to do to get to the playoffs.
Thanks again, Mike. I appreciate it. Michael Jordan, Rick